Hey, Crystal Maiden here, and welcome to part 7 of Knuckles Chaotix. So, now we're going to Marine Madness. Act 2. It's been so long since I've been here that I forgot that I had already been here. The gimmick with this level is that there's a boat that you can stand on. There's plenty of boats all over the place, and when you're going through the level, you can jump on the buttons on the boat to progress with the level. Like, jumping on the button on the boat will never take you to a dead end. It's always going to make you progress with the level. The boat looks like it's in the background, but you can jump on it and land on it. So you should take advantage of that to get through the level faster. The music is pretty relaxing. I don't really know about the aesthetic though. I mean, again, I like psychedelic colors, but in level design? I mean, again, it's Carnival Island. It's not Little Planet. So it doesn't really make sense for the levels to look this way. That's Charmy B. I'll be showing him off later. He's kind of annoying to have as a partner because he flies around and so he can pull you around. Marine Madness is an okay level. I mean, it's certainly a lot better than Metallic Madness. This level's pretty platformy. I prefer to have consistency in games. Like, I like levels that are mainly about platforming, and I like levels that are mainly about speed. And it's fine for speedy levels that have platforming in them, as long as there's a transition between the two. I prefer it when there is a proper transition between having a speedy section and having platforming. Because otherwise, you just get abruptly thrown into platforming sections when you're moving fast. And it sort of interferes with it, and it's very jarring and disappointing. So, like, if they're gonna have platforming in a fast level, they should at least do something to tell your brain that platforming is coming up and that you should slow down. Like, make you slow down. Like, I love it in Hydro City Act 2, and probably Act 1 as well, when you're moving really fast, and then you fly upwards, and then you land on these moving vertical platforms, and then you do precise platforming. And that's good because you were spending a few seconds not being able to do anything because you're flying upwards. And because you're not doing anything, because you spent a couple seconds not being able to do anything because you're sent flying upwards, it gives your brain a chance to register that, okay, I'm not doing anything, so I don't have to focus on speed sections. And as a result, you're okay with the platforming because there was a transition between it. When you walk into walls, you bounce off them like a bumper, and that's good because it means that you're not trapped walking into them perpetually. And oh great, more platforming and more the ground rising up. I mean, I'd be fine if the ground was just flat. And look, Poppin'! These green spears bounce you upwards. I could have sworn I saw yellow spears later on. I mean, earlier on. And I presume they do the same thing. I mean, yeah, they do the same thing, because I walked into them. But yeah, these are green spears, and they bounce you upwards. And I don't know why they didn't just keep them yellow, because yeah, you don't want to get stuck walking into the wall. That can happen if you're in an area where there aren't any bumpers around. I don't know why they didn't just keep these things yellow like they were in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There's a reason why they keep graphics consistent between games. It's not just from laziness, from recycling old graphics. It's also good game design because it means you can instantly register what something is. That's why I don't like how they changed the way the checkpoints look. Like, I would prefer if they just kept checkpoints looking exactly the same, starting with Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Because that's when I think they look the best. Like, I like being able to instantly register. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Like, there were 2 blue spears right there! And I missed one of them, so now I have to go through the entire special stage all over again. And I didn't cut this out because, well, that's the game. There's plenty of evidence that Sonic and Tails were meant to be in Knuckles Chaotix. And they found this by looking through that Sonic Crackers ROM that I was talking about in the last part. Starting with the weakest, Heavy and Bomb had yellow and blue colored statues respectively, which are the colors of Tails and Sonic. This implies that Heavy and Bomb replaced Tails and Sonic later on. And for another, there is of course Techno Tower being in Sonic Crackers and an early version of Speed Slider being in it. It is possible that Sonic and Tails were only there as placeholders for the earliest playtesting, because they wanted to test out the gameplay, and they wanted to test it out before they programmed new characters and not after. So I think that's what happens. I think Sonic and Tails were only in this game as placeholders. Although, this game was not originally meant to be a Knuckles spin-off. Because again, this game had Sonic Crackers as basically its prototype. So I'm guessing that Sonic and Tails were meant to star in Sonic Crackers, but when it became Knuckles Chaotix, things changed. More evidence that Sonic and Tails were once in Knuckles Chaotix is that there's 2 copies of Heavy and Bomb in the Comic Catcher. Either those extra spaces once belonged to Sonic and Tails, or this was intentional to make it more likely that you'd select Heavy or Bomb. I like to think it's a mixture of both, because that makes sense to me. Ugh, more platforming. I wouldn't hate the platforming in this so much if it wasn't so easy to fall into bottomless pits. The camera could be so much better here. Sometimes there's multiple different paths that you can take, and the annoying thing about the special stages is that sometimes it seems like it's impossible to choose both blue spears, because they give you the choice between one blue spear and another, and you pretty much have to choose one or the other. If you miss too many blue spears, then that means that you're pretty much forced to repeat a section of the special stage you already did all over again. And I like how you can repeat sections of the special stage that you already did, because you know it's better than being completely booted out of the special stage when you don't have enough blue spears. And if you come into a special stage with a whole bunch of rings, then it increases your chances of beating it. Like, the reason that I completely failed one of the special stages and gave up on it is because I didn't have enough rings to beat it. And so I was doomed to run out of time no matter what I did. Because when I first started playing these special stages, I was so focused on collecting the blue spears that I wasn't at all focused on the amount of rings I had. So I wasn't focused on collecting rings. Like, I feel like that's too much for you to have to focus on. You're not only focusing on collecting rings, you're also focusing on collecting blue spears. And so, at first, you can run out of rings a lot because you're not focusing on keeping your time from running out. There's some more evidence that Sonic and Tails were originally meant to be in this game, like the Sonic Crackers stage select called levels attractions rather than zones. And the character's Switch item box in Knuckles Chaotix has an orange and blue arrow respectively, matching the colors of Sonic and Tails. Knuckles Chaotix music tracks, Walkin', Hyper Hyper, Evening Star, and Moonrise, as well as a version of Electoria based on the 4 previously mentioned tracks, can actually be heard in Sonic Crackers, as well as the Game Over theme from Sonic 2 and 1. So, Sonic Crackers had the Hub World themes, and I love the fact that they actually bothered to make different music depending on what time of the day you're at in the Hub World. Like, I think my favorite Hub World theme is easily the theme that plays when you're at dusk. Like, it sounds really beautiful. But the problem is that it's so repetitive because, it's yet another song on the soundtrack that is too short and there's not enough to it. So it can get really repetitive when you listen to it for too long. While the dusk theme of the Hub World is easily the best Hub World theme, it doesn't last long enough, there's not enough to it. So that really holds it back. Oh good, I saw a button there. So now I know exactly what to do. Like, this is yet another level where most levels in the game, it's so open-ended. There's so many different paths you can take, and so it's hard to figure out how exactly to progress. But it's not as bad with this one because all you have to do is look for a button, and then you can just press it, and then the boat will take you where you need to go. It's weird that you can still go into the special stage even after you've collected all the Chaos Rings. And this happens! You get to replay all the special stages all over again, but now they're in wireframe. So it's harder to see when a bottomless pit is coming up. Because you're looking out for holes, but there's technically holes in all of the floors according to the way it looks because it's in wireframe. I didn't have that much of a problem with it though. I beat this without getting any game over. Like what I'm showing you right now is me beating this wireframe special stage without save stating or loading any states. I beat it in one go. I was not able to do that for the rest of the stages though. Like there are X signs to tell you where the pits are. So you at least immediately know, okay, there's a pit coming up on this side of the screen, so I should walk to the left or right to avoid the pit. And due to depth perception issues, it's kind of hard to tell whether the X sign is before the pit or after. So, like, I had a hard time seeing that pit to the right of me there. I don't think wireframe special stages are a very good idea. I mean, I guess the point of it was to make it harder. Because now it's harder to distinguish where a pit is. That kind of feels like bad design though. I was honestly worried that I wouldn't be able to get all the Chaos Rings in this game because I vividly remember getting to the end of a level 57 rings, but the special stage ring didn't show up. And so I thought, okay, so maybe you only collect 5 special rings instead of 6. Turns out that I was wrong about that. Either that, or I guess I encountered a glitch then. Because I very clearly reached the end of a level 57 rings at one point, and the special stage ring didn't show up at all. And so I thought, okay, maybe I got all the Chaos Rings and the game just didn't tell me. Or maybe I encountered a glitch and won't be able to get the good ending. But even if that had happened to me, I would have just used the code to get all the Chaos Rings, or actually you can use the code to access any special stage you want. So that's what I would have done. I would have used the code to get the last special stage if I couldn't get it to show up normally. So basically you collect a Chaos Ring all over again. But since you already have it, the reward you get is points. Points that are completely useless. I mean, it was the first special stage, so of course I beat it, But still, I guess that was pretty impressive to me. See you for the next part.